Good evening. Good evening. I'm Robin Citizen, the Director of Festival Programming and Cinematech here at TIFF, and I'm very excited to welcome you to Day 5 of the Toronto International Film Festival and the world premiere of Subtraction. First, I would like to thank our lead and major sponsors, Bell, RBC, Bulgari, and Visa for their continued support. Thank you to our major supporters, the Government of Canada, the Government of Ontario, Telefilm Canada, and the City of Toronto for their continued support. This film is eligible for the Platform Prize for Best Film in the Platform Program and the People's Choice Award. Vote for your favorite films at tiff.net/vote. We would like to thank Films Boutique for providing us with this film. Please help me welcome to the stage. I think the less you know about this film going into it, the better. It is tense and engaging. Please help me welcome filmmaker Mani Haghighi to the stage.
Good evening. Is it working? Yes? Hi. Thank you for inviting my film to TIFF. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here. My encounter with the Toronto Film Festival goes back to 1984 when I first saw a film at this festival. Back then it was called Festival of Festivals. Some of you might remember that. So yeah, I mean, ever since then, I've been hoping and dreaming of presenting a film here. And tonight is a very special night for me because it's the first time, not only is it the first time that we're screening this film for the general public, but also the first time that I get to screen a film of mine at my favorite festival. So thanks for coming.
Thank you for joining us for the Q&A, and please help me welcome back to the stage filmmaker Mani Haghighi.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask a question or two, and then I'm going to throw it over to the audience. There's a light in my eyes, so please just raise your hand, and I'm going to repeat your question. So this film has been in the works for a while, you said. Can you talk about where this idea came from in the process of getting it made?
No. It's a really hard question to answer, really. Thematically, I can tell you. I mean, we live in Iran, and Iran is a sort of as you know, a theocratic society where you lead two lives. You have a private life and a public face. That's kind of inevitable in any society like that. So I was interested in turning that into a film, but I also was kind of weary of making a sort of explicitly political statement about that. So for a long time we were trying to figure out a way of kind of taking that notion and turning it into some kind of a dramatic, interesting story. So suddenly this notion of a doppelganger plot, that's sort of basically a science fiction idea, came to our head. When I say our head, it was me and my co-writer, Amir Reza Koustani, who I wish was here because he could talk a lot more about this. So once we had that idea, very quickly, it became clear that was just going to be tacky and ridiculous. So we spent a long time, years actually. We spent 9 years writing this script. It's an absurd amount of time. Youth wasted, basically. Yeah, so we thought, okay, this can't be done. This is how could I do that? Until we realized that if we had a double doppelganger plot and involve a sort of turn it into a love story and not a science fiction story, then things would kind of work out. So yeah, that's the kind of process.
the genesis.
Like I said, I can't answer that question.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
I actually saw a hand already somewhere up
Oh,
here.
you're kidding.
Yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead. You.
Thank you. Right. Why rain is your question? Right. Yeah. Water. There's lots of water in the film. True. Yeah. Why was that? Yeah. Again, these questions are. I thought that if the story was exclusively focused on the notion of why are these people, you can sit down. I can talk to you while you're sitting. I was thinking of if it was exclusively a doppelganger plot. That wasn't sufficient for the kind of malaise I was trying to describe. I thought if there's a sort of bigger problem in the world, and these people kind of looking like each other was kind of a symptom of a larger crisis, then that made more sense to me. So it was sort of a thematic context, if you like, for this particular crisis that these people are experiencing. So it's not just like the entire world is falling apart. It's not just these lives falling apart. It's like a sort of a bigger thing. And one of the symptoms of that is, oh my God, people are beginning to look like each other all of a sudden. Yes, it was everything going to shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That actually comes across in the game scene where everything seems so incredibly chaotic and like the entire fate of that place hinges on who's going to come out of that battle kind of alive. Yeah. Yes.
Well, if you're shooting it in Iran where it doesn't rain at all, a lot. Actually, the rain was. We had a very, very good special effects team. None of the rain is computer generated in this film. It's entirely real water, and we had a very good team, and we planned it very well. We shot this film during the pandemic, so things were very slow. And it took a long time to put things together, and our special effects team had a lot of time to prepare for this. So, does that answer your question? A long time. Yeah, very long time. I actually got sick during the pre-production of this film with COVID. So that kind of gave my team an extra 3 weeks to prepare because the director was absent.
I have a non-weather question.
Right.
So
I'll make it a weather answer.
Much of this film depends on us really believing that the two leads are indeed separate people. You know, they have the same faces but separate energies. And so can you talk a bit about the casting and what you were looking for?
Yeah. Like I said, this film took a long time to prepare, and it went through various stages of, like, different actors came up for this. But let me answer your question in this way. The way we prepared to get what you, when you have a doppelganger plot, the actor's first instinct is to come up with strategies of distinguishing one character from the other. So they came in with these ideas about, okay, I'm gonna do Mohsen like this, I'm gonna do Jalal like that, and immediately I stopped them from doing that, and I said, let me take care of the differences. You concentrate on the similarities. So you think about the ways these two characters are actually similar, and just trust the fact that the plot and the setting and what I do and, you know, costume design and all that will take care of the distinguishing elements. And you just think about the decisions that you have to make about these characters. So, but casting, I mean, these two guys are, in my opinion, the best two actors working in Iran today. So it was very easy to pick them. We picked the best.
It's a good strategy.
Paid them a lot of money.
Yes.
Thank you.
Good
Hey,
luck.
listen, I apologize on his
later.
behalf. I think that's enough. Quit while you're ahead, man. It's just getting worse and worse. All right, hi. What can I say?
This is what I found interesting about the movie. At first, the differences were highlighted. They're like, here's Jalal, here's Mohsen, and then from there it was sort of blended together. You couldn't really tell the difference. It was drastic. So in the beginning of the movie, there was really a perception from Taraneh's character, and then it switched over to the child. So I'd be interested in
Yeah, this was actually a very interesting challenge for us while we were, both when we were writing, especially when we were writing, and then later when I was sort of planning on structurally the directing part of it. It's a story that's told from 6 different points of view. So we just had to get rid of this law that we just are following one person's point of view and sort of opened it up to different scenes being seen from different characters' point of view, which was very challenging because, it just shifts and you have to sort of let the audience kind of transition from one person's point of view to the next without it being jarring. All I can say is that I worked very hard to get this as smooth as possible and not confuse the audience, kind of dissolve these points of views. It was a lot of fun to do, to plan. So how do we shift from one scene to the next and from one perspective to the next? But that's all I can say really about it, because then we have to get into the nitty-gritty of the details of what I did, which is not very interesting here, I think.
Then it's a master class.
Right.
Yes, in the white shirt.
Hi. Right. That's a cultural question. Yeah, I mean, that is an interesting question. In Iran, if there's a crime committed, the victim can forgive the perpetrator. And so there's I hope there are no legal experts in this, because I'm not being precisely accurate about. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of weight given to the victim's understanding of the crime. So, for example, if there's a murder committed, the victim's family can forgive the murderer, and the person won't be punished as badly as they would be if they weren't forgiven. Do you follow? So this letter is a big deal. Like it's a sort of a legal way of actually changing the fate of the criminal. So yes, it's a big deal. Wow, I've never had a Q&A in my life with so many interesting
These are great questions. Yes, over here.
Where are you? Ah, hi. No. I just want to know where you are. Right. It was intentional. Yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Oh,
Was
sorry,
it a pro-natural selection statement? I'm not sure if there was a statement. That's the first thing I can say. I never thought of it this way. I don't know. I have to think. That's an interesting question, but I haven't thought of it like that.
Yes, in the blue.
What? They're the same person, man.
I mean, that's a great endorsement, though.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I'll text them instantly.
Yeah.
You did a very good job,
Yeah.
man. Yeah, except that it wasn't a victory, right? Because the kid kind of derailed that notion. But yes, everything definitely is going to hell, for sure. Not only in the film, but in life.
Piggybacking off that question, though, it seems like the differences between Jalal and Moshen seem much starker than the differences between Bida and her counterpart. Was that? Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yes. That is. Yeah. Again, I was thinking. This is not something I want to impose on the audience. I'm just trying to tell you what the process was. I thought this is a story about the women, and so I was sort of concentrating on. I spent a lot more time developing both the differences and the similarities between the female characters than the male. The men kind of needed to be really distinct emotionally and in terms of their character so that the women could, so I could do this game with the women, kind of morphing sometimes kind of moving close to each other, and you know what I mean? Like, so yeah, in order, I thought it would be very confusing if this was the same dynamic with the men as well. So I thought, okay, we'll make the men very different so that I can sort of play with the differences and the similarities of the women.
We have time for one more question. Yes, there. Oh, sorry, there. Your friend was helping raise your arm. Yes.
Right.
Just so everybody could hear that, instead of being excited of finding their kind of doppelganger, their other selves, they seem to be in denial and kind of pushing away the similarities. So,
I guess my premise was that if you find that there's someone in the same city who looks identical to you, that's a crisis. It's not really something that you are happy about. My presumption is that that just freaks you out rather than make you happy. And so as a result of that, my second presumption is that you just go into denial first as an initial reaction to this trauma. I mean, it's a trauma, and the first reaction to it is, whoa, this can't be true. And then, of course, each character has their own reaction. So the violent man is just in complete denial and wants to just eradicate the other. No. It doesn't. Yes, but that's not an issue for me. In this story in particular, these are the four kinds of reactions that people would have. But yeah, I mean, wouldn't you freak out if someone who looked like you just walked into the theater right now? And you would love it? Wow.
She's a twin.
Right. Let me just add that I grew up with a pair of twins as my siblings. I wasn't one of them. I have brother and sister, so they didn't look like each other. But the idea of two people simultaneously entering your life is a sort of a very personal thing for me.
Well,
And a
thank you.
trauma.
Thank you so much for bringing this film. You can tell there's so many interpretations. Thank you.
Thank you.